Welcome to Paralegal College, the leading online paralegal educational resource with our certificate course in paralegal studies, approved by the Institute of Paralegals. This video is part of the Foundations of Law module. Like all of our paralegal certificate course videos, we aim to complete this tutorial in under 5 minutes. So in 5 minutes or less, you should have a very good idea of how the term jurisdiction is applied in the law. In this tutorial, I will be discussing several different meanings of the term jurisdiction. There are 4 countries in the United Kingdom: England, Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland, but there are only 3 jurisdictions, namely 1. Scotland, 2. Northern Ireland, and 3. England and Wales. England and Wales is 1 jurisdiction. Actually, there is a 4th jurisdiction until March 2019, namely the European Union. A jurisdiction is a geographical area where laws made by the government of that geographical area, usually a country, have force. Sometimes more than one geographical area is involved. For example, France has certain overseas territories where French law is sovereign, even though those territories are not physically attached to France. Here we see depictions of some of those overseas French territories which are subject to the jurisdiction of the Republic, depicted in blue. Throughout our certificate in paralegal studies, we are dealing with the law of England and Wales, also known more widely as English law. England is the mother of the common law, and the laws in a number of common law jurisdictions are very similar to each other. Sometimes a parliamentary law will apply to more than one jurisdiction, and sections within a single law can apply to several jurisdictions. Take the Criminal Justice Act 2003, for example. Section 1, as we see here, applies to England and Wales. However, looking at Section 32, we see that it applies to England and Wales and Northern Ireland. Looking at our international legal responsibilities, the UK has signed over 14,000 treaties with other countries or with international bodies in the past several hundred years. Here we see just a few of them listed. The UK has always been a country which attempts to have good international relations. The many treaties we have signed over the centuries shows that the UK, far from being merely a few islands in the middle of the ocean, is interconnected with the whole world. The reality of modern life means that we live in an age of interconnected jurisdictions. Some of the treaties we have signed bind us to rulings made in international courts, for example, the European Convention on Human Rights or the Statute of the International Court of Justice, which is housed at the Peace Palace in The Hague. So far, we have been discussing territorial jurisdiction. However, the term is also used to describe some of the powers of the court. A court has jurisdiction to hear only certain matters. For example, a criminal court does not have the jurisdiction to hear a family dispute. Likewise, a magistrate's court does not have the jurisdiction to hear a contract dispute. A court is said to have inherent jurisdiction. This is a bit like magic. The court can decide that it does not have enough power to do justice in a particular case, and it can decide to extend its own powers all by itself. A good example of this is a search order, whereby a court can order the search of someone's premises. This order came about because the judge in the Anton Piller case decided that it was appropriate for the defendant's premises to be searched for certain documents, for fear that they would be destroyed or hidden. In England, a court had never done this before the Anton Piller case. The judge in that case decided that the court did have the right, under the inherent jurisdiction doctrine, to do this. This is an example of a court exercising its inherent jurisdiction. The only limit seems to be that it must be just and fair in all of the circumstances of the case to do so, and doing so must not thwart the will of Parliament. Another famous example of inherent jurisdiction, or something very like it, happened in the US Supreme Court in 1803, when the court gave itself the power to declare a law unconstitutional. Note that the UK Supreme Court does not have this power. Returning to territorial jurisdiction, a state may have territorial jurisdiction imposed upon it. During the Iraq War, the UK did not take steps to prevent the execution of 2 Iraqis by the Iraqi authorities. The UK disclaimed responsibility on the grounds that Iraq was not party to the European Convention on Human Rights, and therefore the UK was not obliged to grant human rights to Iraqi citizens. However, the European Court of Human Rights decided that the UK actually had territorial control of Iraq at the time, and therefore human rights provisions which applied in the UK to the inhabitants of the UK must also apply to the inhabitants of any other territory over which the UK had control. Therefore, the UK could not escape its obligations. Jurisdiction to try an offence may be extended across territories. So, for example, under the doctrine of active personality, a defendant may be tried in the state of which he or she is a national, even if the offence occurred in another country. Likewise, under the doctrine of passive personality, the person may be tried in the state in which the victim is a national or resident at the time of the offence. And under international law, there are other doctrines pertaining to where a defendant may be tried for an offence, such as the doctrine of universal jurisdiction or, on the other hand, concurrent jurisdiction. Thus, it is becoming increasingly difficult for people to hide behind their nationality or their location when committing certain criminal offences. This concludes this tutorial on jurisdiction. In this video, we have only scratched the surface of the concepts related to jurisdiction. Our course material contains more information for you, and if you would like to learn more about our courses, please visit our website at paralegalcollege.co.uk. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If so, please feel free to like and subscribe, and visit our YouTube channel again for further videos on English law for paralegals.